Hello everyone, I am your educator Priyanka. Warmly welcome to all of you in today's lecture. So, I hope you all guys are doing well. So, uh, what we will discuss today, okay? Today we discuss about pollination, reproductive part of plant and the type of pollination. Okay, at the end of this lecture, we will able to know how pollination occur, what is pollination, why it occurs in nature, and what are the benefit of the pollination to the plants. Okay, so let us move to our topic. So I hope you must have heard the term pollination in your school days, but have you ever wondered what exactly it does? In today's lecture, let us explore the reproductive world of the plant and answer the evergreen question, what is pollination? So, before moving to the topic, I want to know from you how much you know about the pollination. What do you understand by pollination? So let me know in the chat box what is pollination. If you don't know, don't worry. We will discuss it today. Okay. So again, I have an interesting question for you. Can you answer me? Why do bees move around the flower? I hope you all observed this. Okay. Can you answer me? Let me know in the chat box. So let us try to find its answer. We start our topic. What is pollination? Just try to learn from the images. The pollination is the process through which the plant reproduce. What is the meaning of reproduce? Means they give birth to fruits and crops. I hope this will clear to you. Okay. Now again a question comes. How does pollination happen? So before learning this, let us try to learn the reproductive part of a plant. What is the reproductive part of the plant? Let me know in the chat box. Yes, flower is the reproductive part of the plant. In flower consists of stamen as a male reproductive part and pistil as a female reproductive part. Let us discuss them in detail. As you can see in the picture, this is stamen. Okay, the stamen consists of anther and the filament. Anther is a sac-like structure which contains pollen grain. What are pollen grains? Pollen grains are considered as male gametes, which play crucial role in reproduction. Okay, so just below the anther, a long stem-like structure is present, which is called the filament. Okay, so that's all for the that is all of the structure of the stamen. So next we move toward the structure of carpel or pistil. Both words are same, so don't get confused with carpel and pistil. Okay, both words are used for the female reproductive part. The carpel consists of stigma, style, and the ovary. Stigma contains a glue-like substance, and style is a stem-like structure which connects stigma with the ovary. Ovary is a sac-like structure which contains ovules in it. And in ovules, eggs are present. Again, what are eggs? eggs are considered as the female gamete. Okay. So I hope this will clear to all of you. Now we have learned the reproductive part of the plant. Now we try to learn the process of pollination. Okay, how pollination occur in nature. So when pollen grains are picked from anther and get deposited on the stigma of the flower, and from the stigma it moves towards the ovary and forms fruit through a method called fertilization. Now again question arises in our mind, what is fertilization? I have already told you that the pollen grains are the male gametes and eggs are the female gametes. Fertilization is the process of fusion of male and the female gametes with each other so that they can form fruits in case of plants. Okay, just try to learn the process of pollination with the real life example of bee. When bee sits on a flower for sipping nectar, the pollen grains get stuck with their body part. Okay, and when the bee flew away from the flower for sipping more nectar, then it again sits on another flower. Okay, and when it sits on another flower, the pollen grains from their body deposited on the stigma. Then what happens? Just have a look on this image. Okay, the pollen grains, when get deposited on the stigma, they got attached with the glue. Okay, and then from the stigma they slipped away from the stigma through towards the ovary through this style. Okay, and when the pollen grains reach the ovary, they enters in the ovule. And I already told you what is present in ovules. Eggs are present in ovules. These pollen grains in ovules interact with eggs through a method fertilization, and then they form fruit or a new crop. Okay, I hope this process is clear to all of you. So the pollination can occur in two ways: the self-pollination and the cross-pollination. Okay, let us discuss them in detail. What is self-pollination? Just try to learn with the help of image. So first of all, let me zoom it. Self-pollination occur when the pollen grains from anther get deposited on the stigma of the same flower, or when the pollen grains from anther get deposited on the stigma of the flower of the same plant. Okay, I hope this will clear to all of you. Now, a question arises in our mind that pollen grains cannot move by their own from anther to stigma. Like us, we can move. We can move from one place to another. Okay, but pollen grains cannot move. Then, what cause them to move? So the pollen grains need a vehicle from moving one place to the another place, and these vehicles are called the agents and the pollinators, which help pollen grain for the movement. Okay, and in case of self-pollination, the pollinators are wind and the water. Okay, now the types of pollination. Self-pollination is of two types: autogamy, geitonogamy. What is autogamy? When the pollen grains from anther get deposited on stigma of the same flower. This process is called autogamy. And when the pollen grains from anther get deposited on the stigma of flower of same plant. Remember? Stigma of flower of same plant. Then the process is called geitonogamy. Okay? I hope this will clear to all of you. The self-pollination occurs in same plant, whereas the cross-pollination occurs in different plant. Again, let us try to learn the cross-pollination with the help of image. Cross-pollination occurs when the pollen grains from anther get deposited on the stigma of the different plant. Okay. So, I hope this will clear to you. What are the agents for cross-pollination? There are a number of pollinators are present for cross-pollination. Okay, but two of them are insects and by the human activities. So, cross-pollination most commonly occur in two ways: entomophily and anthropophily. What is entomophily? Entomophily means entomo and phily. Entomo means insect, phily means lover, insect lover. The cross pollination which occurs with the help of insect is called entomophily. And what is anthropophily? The anthropo means human activities. Artificially, phily means loving. The cross-pollination which occurs with the help of human activities or artificially, that pollination is called anthropophily. Okay, I hope this will clear to you. Clear to you. Now, just look at it. Look at this picture. I have already told you that cross-pollination, a large number of pollinators are present. These pollinators may be snails, birds, insects, wind, water, anything. Okay. So now I have an interesting fact for you. Do you know that 70% of plant species depend on insect or other animals to transport their pollen grains? Interesting? Okay. Let us do recap now. Summary of today's lecture. Pollination is the process through which flowers reproduce, meaning they give birth to fruits and crops, right? Pistil and stamen are the reproductive part of the plant which helps in pollination, right? Stamen are the male part, pistil and the female part. Pollination can occur in two ways, self-pollination and the cross-pollination. Self-pollination occurs when pollen from anther deposited on the stigma of same flower or another flower of the same plant through wind and water. Cross-pollination is the process in which the pollen grains are transferred from anther of one flower or plant to stigma of another through agents like insects, winds, birds, etc. So, what we have learned today: pollination, reproductive part of pollination, process of pollination, and the types of pollination. Okay, that's all for the day. I hope you have learned something new in today's lecture. Thank you. Have a nice day.